Matthew 10:35. For I am come to set a man at variance against his father, and the daughter against her mother, and the daughter-in-law against her mother-in-law. A man's foes shall be they of his own household. He that loveth father or mother more than me is not worthy of me. And he that loveth son or daughter more than me is not worthy of me. And he that taketh not his cross and followeth after me, is not worthy of me. He that findeth his life shall lose it. And he that loseth his life for my sake shall find it. So basically following YAHAWASHI, believing in YAHAWASHI, walking with YAHAWASHI, you could possibly lose your life physically. It can get serious to the extent of you losing your life physically. Because if you're following after him, you're following after someone who died for what he believed in. He was willing to accept whatever to stay with because of what he believed in. Now, that's pretty much what this lesson is going to be about. But if what you know in that, will you be willing to do the same thing? Are you willing to do the same thing? Do you understand the one and what all came with the one you're following? Because again, YAHAWASHI, who people call Jesus, he died for what he believed in. And this is in inspiration of watching the elder Apostle Gabar's video on, knowing, why you're in this ministry. That's a statement that he made, and it resonated, more than ever before. Because ultimately pushing the message of having a backbone and standing for something, and standing for that against anything, in the face of anything, despite what it may be or who it may be, or how it may be trying to go against, those beliefs or move you off those beliefs, contradict them or whatever. But before I get into this, I'm going to say all praises, call Haloyim, La, Yahweh, Ba Hashem YAHAWASHI, Wahawa Kakodash. That's all praises to the Most High, who people call God, whose true name is Yahweh in the ancient Hebrew tongue, the ancient Paleo Hebrew tongue, and in the name of his son, YAHAWASHI, who people call Jesus, whose true name is YAHAWASHI in the ancient Paleo Hebrew tongue. All right. Wahha being Anda, Kodash being holy, Rakha being spirit, Rakha, Kodash, spirit holy. Peace and blessings to the elect, those awakening, those fighting the good fight of faith. Salutations to the men at the Great Millstone Church, the brothers, the true brothers, starting with the elder apostle men, chiefly at the Great Millstone Church. All right, shalom. So Matthew 10:38, and he that taketh not his cross and followeth after me is not worthy of me. Exactly. This in the NLT. If you refuse to take up your cross and follow me, you are not worthy of being mine. Exactly. Right? And I'm going to jump up and read this all in the NLT in the 30th from the 35th verse. I have come to set a man against his father, a daughter against her mother, and a daughter-in-law against her mother-in-law. Your enemies will be in your own household. If you love your father or mother, right, because it's going to be times, even if people in the household believe, where they're in moments of disbelief, and because you are staying one that completely follows the Messiah, you is if you find yourself in a moment where you're completely holding to your belief and they're wavering, or they may not believe at all, it's going to be variance that you must be willing to go against, and to the point of losing them. You must be willing to lose them in that moment, all the way to the extent of if you will, completely, because you're staying on what you believe in. You're following after the one that died for what he believed in, you know, and there's many forms of death, which we were going to get into. But it says, if you love your father or mother more than you love me, you are not worthy of being mine. Or if you love your son or daughter more than me, you are not worthy of being mine. If you refuse to take up your cross and follow me, you are not worthy of being mine. See, exactly. So the Lord was willing to go to the extent, stand 10 toes down on what he believed in, no matter what, no matter if it brought death on different levels, which it did. We know the Lord physically he died, it brought the death of possible relationships that was a certain status, being politically correct, the favor of the people. It brought the death of all that. It brought the death of, careers, because these things were found at moments to be, and contrary to his belief, in opposition to his to the truth, which is what he believed, the ways of the Heavenly Father. And he wasn't willing to compromise that at all for anything or anybody, period. Now, the Lord wasn't, over righteous to where you had instances where, he paid taxes and whatnot, even though the truth is we're over these people. They are heathens. And it was a wicked empire that he was a part of. But that was an instance of him showing he truly believes completely, because the scriptures tell you about not being over righteous. Just because, it's a devil, that don't mean now, with that being the case, or a moment that you are presented with, that it's always seasonable to let that be known, or deal however you want to deal. You know what I'm saying? Like, even if it's according to some of the scriptures don't even agree with, don't push. So nah, but that just shows that he completely believed, man. Now that didn't change his mindset, though he was paying taxes on who these people were, and what was to be the outlook on what it was that was actually going on. Because he said those that's of whom do the strangers collect taxes or tribute. And he asked Peter, and Peter said he's like, the Messiah continued on. He said, of their own or of strangers, and like strangers to them. And I'm roughly paraphrasing this passage. And he said, of strangers. And then Peter said, of strangers. And then YAHAWASHI said, well, then are the strangers free? Basically saying we in slavery. You know. And he wasn't nothing letting nothing change the outlook of what the reality of the matter was. You know what I'm saying? He wasn't around here lying. He wasn't around here trying to go along to get along. He wasn't doing that. Accepted things for what they was and stood on things that he was supposed to stand on, you know, and backed off when he was supposed to, you know, and if people like that or not, that's what he did. If that would bring, you know, some form of death, that's what he would still do. So again, these are the example that's been laid. This is the example that's been laid before us. This is someone that completely stood on what he believed, you know, all the way to the point he died for what he believed in. So are you. So again, in a NLT, if you refuse to take up your cross, right, and follow me, you are not worthy of being mine. If you cling to your life, you will lose it. But if you give up your life for me, you will find it. Exactly. So the Lord wasn't willing, you know, he was willing to, man, lose it all to keep his belief, to keep his integrity. The scriptures talk about that. Proverbs 20:6. Most men will proclaim everyone his own goodness, but a faithful man who can find? Right? In NLT, many will say they are loyal friends, but who can find one who is truly reliable? It says the just man back in the KJV walketh in his integrity. The just man walketh in his integrity. See that his children are blessed after him. So basically, that was YAHAWASHI. YAHAWASHI, he was a just man, so he walked in his integrity, you know, but not, you know, but everybody, you know, say they'll do the same thing, man. YAHAWASHI one that actually did it. Because what it take to actually walk in your integrity, a lot of times it could bring death. Ain't that many willing to die for what they willing to believe, what they what they believe in, you know. Then we'll come back to that. This is Romans 5:7. For scarcely, Romans 5:7. For scarcely, for a righteous man will one die. Will one die? For scarcely, for a righteous man will one die. Yet peradventure, for a good man, some would even dare to die. All right, this is in the NLT. Now, most people will not be willing to die for it. Now, most people will not be willing to die for an upright person. Though someone might perhaps be willing to die for a person who is especially good. You see? And this key word, might. Though someone might perhaps be willing to die for a person who is especially good. You know? So people, it take a lot for people to stand up for something they should stand up for, stand on something they should stand up for, you know? Even when it's, you know, just it could be as clear as day. You know, they still, you know, got to consider it. Think about it. Taking you back to, again, Proverbs 20:6, most will proclaim everyone his own goodness, but a faithful man who can find? The just man walketh in his integrity. See that? One that's truly about being just, that's truly about it. They gonna walk in it. Yahushua was. His children are blessed after him. Exactly. And the reason why I says his children are blessed after him, because they are gonna follow in that man's footsteps. They've been given an example like that, you know, to walk in. So they see, you know, the scriptures tell you, train up a child in the way he shall go, and at the end he shall not depart from it. That's why the Lord said when we come into this truth, we got to start over and be like children, because we're his children. So I says in Isaiah the 9th chapter that he was going to be called a father, you know. In the NLT, this is Proverbs 20:7. The godly walk with integrity. Blessed are their children who follow them. See, blessed are their children who follow them. So, because the example that was laid out before them, so they automatically gonna be blessed. You know, the example of walking in your integrity, standing on what you believe on, you believe in, being willing to die for it. Now, when you go back to Matthew 10, that's not always literal. It's not. The scriptures tell you in the Apocrypha you strive unto the truth unto death, and the Lord shall fight for thee, right? But there's many ways to die. There's many forms of death. That's why when you read Matthew the 10th chapter, he talking about how you gonna basically be against you gonna lose your relationships. You know what I'm saying? It could be times where relationships can die if they don't die all the way, die in the way that they once were. What once was dies. See that, and they tell you that in Ecclesiastes is a time and a season for everything. It's a moment where we just not finna agree, because I am not changing for nothing. I ain't even gonna get that. Scriptures also talk about trimming thy ways to seek love. But anyway, Matthew 10 and 39. I'm gonna read at 38 again. And he that taketh not his cross and followeth after me is not worthy of me. He that findeth his life shall lose it. See that? And he that loses his life for my sake shall find it. Exactly. So is that just literally meaning physical death rate there? No. Because everybody not gonna have to be a martyr for the Lord. That's written in the book of Revelation, the 16th chapter. It talks about those that were slain for the word of God, waiting on those that shall also be martyred. Some not gonna have to do it. Everybody gonna have to die for the truth, though. In some way, shape, or form. That's a fact. You're gonna have to die for this belief. Because if you don't, how you gonna come into life? That's why I says, he that findeth his life shall lose it. You done got a hold of your true life, which is to come, by finding out that you gotta be willing to lose this previous one. The current one you may be in if you knew. Just now hearing this message. You done found your true life. You done found out who you truly are. You done found out what truly awaits you. But you gotta be willing to do what it take to not only to keep that, by abiding by the precepts of the Lord, the law, the book of the commandments. Stand firmly on your beliefs, in the way that you can is supposed to. So it says, he that findeth his life shall lose it, and he that loses his life for my sake shall find it. Right. Because there's a few scriptures we can get. Matthew 5 and 29. And if thy right, matter of fact, I'm sorry. Okay, before I get that, I want to get this to prove this. Like I said, it's different forms. But this is John 11 and 26. It says, and whosoever believeth in me shall never die. Believest thou this? So what does that mean? Right? And whosoever liveth and believeth in me, see that, shall never die. Believest thou this? But we all must die, according to the scriptures. So this is someone he's saying that's alive. They ain't actually dead. He's saying they're never gonna die. One reason being because, well, let me get that first. Let's go to Romans 6. It says, Romans 6 and 2. God forbid, how shall we that are dead to sin live any longer therein? Exactly. This is in the NLT. Of course not. Since we have died to sin. How can we continue to live in it? Right. So is losing your life for the Lord is not gonna always be to the extent of death. Losing your life ultimately for the Lord, aka what you believe in, is not always to in the form of physical death. It's many forms of dying. It's many things that die. It says, "Know ye not," back in the KJV, "Know ye not." So that's your old man, right? Ephesians 4:22. Actually, 2 Corinthians 5:17 first. It says, "Therefore, if any man be in Hamashiach, he is a new creature. Old things are passed away. Behold, all things are become new." All right. Lead me to Ephesians 4:22. I'm gonna start at 20. But ye have not so learned Christ Hamashiach. If so be that ye have heard him, if so be that ye have heard him and have been taught by him, as the truth is in YAHAWASHI, that ye put off concerning the former conversation the old man, which is corrupt according to the deceitful lust. Exactly. Why? Because you stand on things you now know and have been showed and learned, to be off, through experience, through much travel, physically and ultimately through the spirit now. You being guided back on these things that you probably physically was once a part of. When you go to the 19th verse, who being past filling have given themselves over unto lasciviousness to work all uncleanness with greediness. In the NLT, they have no sense of shame. They live for lustful pleasure and eagerly practice every kind of impurity. But that isn't what you learn about Hamashiach. Exactly. Reading on, it says, since you have heard, is all in NLT, about Yahawashi and have learned the truth that comes from him, throw off your old sinful nature and your former way of life. See that, which is corrupted by lust and deception, right? You now know, okay, Yahawashi, that's not the way to be. I learned this not right. This is off. Your beliefs are now that. I'm not standing for that. And ultimately, because Yahawashi, who you follow, who's teaching you this, who ultimately taught you through the way he lived, really, most importantly, he didn't go for none of those things. He didn't give himself over to things that wasn't aligned with righteousness. That wasn't right. Even if he wanted to, there was lust and they were popular. He didn't do it. He starved his flesh. He didn't give himself over to his fleshly appetites, hence those lust, those desires. He didn't do none of that. And you let that rep that he could have had die. Never, just be dead. Not he was dead when he came to that. And now you following in those footsteps, you're letting that old man that once was be dead. Die out. That flesh die out. It says in the continue instead in the 23rd verse, let the spirit renew your thoughts and attitudes. See that? Put on your new nature, created to be like God, truly righteous and holiness and holy. It says in the KJV, right? Verse 22 again, that ye put off concerning the former conversation the old man, which is corrupt according to the deceitful lust, and that ye be and be renewed in the spirit of your mind, that ye put on the new man, which after God is created in righteousness and true holiness. Exactly. So when you read in John 11:26, and whosoever believeth in me, and whosoever liveth, right, and whosoever liveth and believeth in me shall never die. Believest thou this? The way that's talking to someone that isn't physically dead, that hasn't physically gone to sleep, but that believes in him. But with that being the case, they're gonna die, as we read. It's gonna be death. You're gonna have to die for these beliefs in a certain form. So what he's saying, so with that, and so that doesn't eliminate that. So what he's saying is, you're not gonna truly die though, because even if you die physically, it's just sleep. You're gonna come back anyway. This is Romans 6 and 2. God forbid, how shall we that are dead to sin live any longer therein? Know ye not, see, that so many of us as were baptized in YAHAWASHI were baptized into his death? See that? In the NLT, of course, or have you forgotten that when we were joined with Yahawashi in baptism, we joined him in his death? See that? Because you were baptized, meaning you got immersed in the life, in the word of Yahawashi. It says, therefore, we are buried with him, back in the KJV, by baptism into death. See, by being immersed in these words, in the word, in Yahawashi, in his words, in the way he lived. It says that like as Hamashiach was raised up from the dead by the glory of the Father, even so we also should walk in newness of life. So all of it. We're going to have our instance of being like this man who died for what he believed in. He let things die. You know what I'm saying? He even physically went to the extent, if he had to die physically. And he did. So are you willing to? It says, for if we have been planted together in the likeness of his death. See, for if we have been planted together in the likeness of his death, we shall also be in the likeness of his resurrection. Knowing this, that our old man is crucified with him. Our old man is crucified with him, that the body of sin might be destroyed, that henceforth we should not serve sin. Exactly. So are you willing to die for what you believe in? The old man, the man that once was, the person under your so-called government name, as in the way that everyone was knew that person. Are you willing to die for what for like Yahawashi, for what you believe in? Are you willing to let all that go, die, to stand on this righteousness, in order to make it about this righteousness, in order to stand on this righteousness? That's the question. All right. Romans 6 and 11. Likewise, reckon ye also yourselves to be dead indeed unto sin, but alive unto God through Yahawashi HaMashiach our Lord. So in the NLT, so you also should consider yourselves to be dead. See that? To the power of sin, and alive, right, through Hamashiach Yahawashi, right? So though you live, you not gonna die. Even if you physically die unto the death, the physical death, you're not gonna die, because why? You gonna resurrect. And if you don't have to be a martyr, you're not truly dying. We just losing our lives, this fake crap. So I had another one I want to get for you. Hebrews 12 and 2. Looking unto Yahawashi, the author and finisher of our faith, who for the joy that was set before him endured the cross, despising. See, endured the cross. That same cross that we got to take up and follow after him. Those same things we got to bear. Bearing, standing on, bearing, dealing with whatever comes as so-called consequences for what we believe, for standing on what we believe, for standing on this belief, standing on the scriptures, standing on righteousness, willing to endure whatever so-called consequence, bear whatever so consequences come with that, ultimately symbolizing death. You know, being crucified like YAHAWASHI, that cross. It says despising the shame. See that? And is set down at the right hand of the throne of God. For consider him that endured such contradiction of sinners against himself, lest ye be weary and faint in your minds. See that? For this the point. Ye have not resisted unto blood, striving against sin. This is in NLT. After all, you have not yet given your lives in your struggle against sin. In your struggle against sin, exactly. So everybody not gonna die. Everybody not dead right now. But since we all following YAHAWASHI, right, is one big walk of, you know, death to life. You know, life through death, walking through death, past death, you know, conquering death to ultimately truly have life, you know, if that makes sense. So I'm going to go ahead and start winding this down. We're going to go to Matthew 5:27. Ye have heard that it was said by them of old time, thou shalt not commit adultery. But I say unto you that whosoever looketh on a woman to lust after her hath committed adultery with her already in his heart. Right? So those things that one of these things YAHAWASHI didn't do. You know? That he could that his flesh may have wanted to do, but he didn't. He let that die. Reading on. And if thy right eye offend thee, pluck it out. See that? And cast it from thee, for it is profitable for thee that one of thy members should perish, and not thy whole body should be cast into hell. See that? So that's it. So he was willing to cut off things that would lead him to, you know, things that was against his belief. So because he stood, he was about what he was about, and you know, so much. It wasn't about what he wasn't about so much. To the point, whatever it was that could lead him to being compromised on that, he cut it off, man. He cut it off. So if that's in the form of one of his limbs dying, him dying in some form, that's what it is, a relationship, because this could also represent someone of the body. You know, so if your eye in the NLT, if your eye, even your good eye, causes you to lust, gouge it out and throw it away. It is better for you to lose one part of your body, right, than for your whole body to be thrown into hell. And if you're right, and if back in the KJV, and if thy right hand offend thee, cut it off and cast it from thee, for it is profitable for thee that one of thy members should perish, and not that thy whole body should be cast into hell. Exactly. So it's forms of death that you must go through, must be willing to face in order to obtain and keep life. You know, in order to keep your true rep, you're gonna have to bypass that situation. You're gonna have to, you know, take the low on that. You're gonna have to stand up and say something. Now, I know that's not how I'm supposed to be treating this person, my husband. You know, I ain't letting nobody, you know what I'm saying? Let these devils win the way we're supposed to let them win because of what we believe. So we can let, you know, keep holding fast that which we have. We ain't let no man take our crown. All right?
Necros.
So this is the word for death, right? From Romans 6. Necros. It says, one that has breathed his last. See that? Lifeless, deceased, departed. See that? One whose soul is in head. Let me read that. But anyway, it say what? Destitute of life, without life. So you're not allowing certain things to live. You know? I'm not putting nothing in that. I'm taking a life and breath out of this relationship, this event, this last, you know what I'm saying? I'm not even allowing it to get anything. You know, spiritually dead, metaphorically, destitute of a life that recognize is devoted to God because it has given up to trespasses and sins. And that's supposed to be the other way around. Yeah, destitute of a life that is that recognizes and is devoted to God because given up to trespasses and sins, inactive as respects. See, doing right. So yeah, you done lost your rep. You ain't the, so-called life of the party and all this crap no more. Because you die for what you believe in. You willing to die for what you believe in, you know? And even if you gotta physically die, man, you know what I'm saying? We are supposed to stand on that. And the Lord got us. This is 2 Maccabees 7. I got a few more. It says, it came to pass also that 7 brethren with their mother were taken and compelled by the king against the law to taste swine's flesh. To taste swine's flesh. Right? And was compelled by the king against the law to taste swine's flesh and were tormented with scourges and whips. But one of them that spake first said thus, what wouldest thou ask or learn of us? We are ready to die. We are ready to die rather than to transgress the laws of our fathers. Then the king, being enraged, commanded pans and cauldrons to be made hot, which forthwith being heated, he commanded to cut out the tongue of him that spake first, and to cut off the uttermost parts of his body, the rest of his brethren and his mother looking on. Now, it was crazy. This happened before YAHAWASHI was even crucified. So how much more our people should be empowered, you know what I'm saying, to not give in to the flesh or give in to the cares of this world, or, you know what I'm saying, vanity, the lower nature, the lower frequencies. Come on, man. It says, the rest of his brethren and his mother looking on. It says, now when he was thus maimed in all his members, he commanded him, being yet alive, to be brought to the fire and to be fried in the pan. And as the vapor of the pan was for a good space dispersed, they exhorted one another. They exhorted one another with the mother to die manfully. I'm not, hell no. This is not happening. It's certain that you supposed to stand for. You supposed to stand on what you supposed to stand for. Are you willing to die for the truth? For what you believe in? Honor, integrity, respect, decency. True family, the elect, the Most High, YAHAWASHI. In whatever forms you may, if it's all of the forms acts you, pray to the Lord, put the spirit on you too. That's the right mentality to have. I'd rather like they say, I'd rather die for, I'd rather be hated for who I am than loved for who I'm not. You know what I'm saying? So I'd rather die than give in to some weak ass shit or some weak ass. Hell no. Straight up. It says, with the mother, they exhorted one another with the mother to die manfully, saying thus, the Lord God looketh upon us, and in truth hath comforted us, as Moses in his song, which witnessed to their faces, declared, saying, and he shall be comforted in his servants. So when the first was dead after this number, they brought the second to make him a mocking stock. And when they had pulled off the skin of his head with the hair, they asked him, wilt thou eat before thou be punished throughout every member of thy body? But he answered in his own language and said, no. So he said, la'ah. Wherefore he also received the next torment in order. These are brothers and ancient ancestors of the past, man. You know, we worship the Lord. We fear the Lord. We fear Him that could destroy both body and soul in hell, not them that could kill the body. That, you know, the Lord can give you another body, take you out of the body while they doing stuff to the body, something happening to the body. Put angels, there ain't no point in fearing. There's no fear but the Lord. Read me, give me some scriptures showing me about, fear being real. Fear is not real. I'm gonna get that, but he answered his own language and said no. Wherefore he also received the next torment in order as the former did. And when he was at the last gap, he said, "Thou like a fury takest us out of this present life. But the King of the world shall raise us up." They knew Yahawashi was coming, who have died for his laws unto everlasting life. And after him, the third was made a mocking stock. And when he was required, he put out his tongue. And that right soon, holding forth his hands manfully, and said courageously, "These I had from heaven, and for his laws I despised them." It says, "And from him I hope to receive them again." Insomuch that the king and they that were with him marveled at the young man's courage, for that he was nothing, for that he nothing regarded the pains. This is that simple, man. Now, when this man was dead, also they tormented and mangled the fourth in like manner. So when he was ready to die, he said thus, "It is good for being put to death by men, to look for a hope from God to be raised up again. As for thee, thou shalt have no resurrection to life." See, as for thee, thou shalt have no resurrection to life. You damn devils gonna go into slavery, like we've been said. This is the patience and the faith of the saints. We ain't worry about no man. We ain't let no man take our crown. Have a piece of your integrity, a piece of something. You can never get back. No one can give you but decency and order, righteousness, the Heavenly Father, the truth. I'm not trading that for some crap they can give. Nah, I'm good, man. Lord gave me a good record. I keep my good record. I'm good, bro. I'm straight. Second Ezra 15, right? I'm jumping to the point. 15 and 1. It says, I'm gonna jump to the point. 1. Behold, speak thou in the ears of my people the words of prophecy, which I will put in thy mouth, saith the Lord, and cause them to be written in paper, for they are faithful and true. Fear not the imaginations against thee. Let not the incredulity of them trouble thee that speak against thee. See that? So you don't fear these imaginations against you. Illusions and no consequences but the consequences of the Lord, man. No, I'm gonna miss out, or this might be my own time to. We ain't doing that. It ain't worth it. We not goofies. We supplant. We don't get supplanted. Let not the incredulity of them that trouble thee, speak against thee. That speak against thee. It says right. Try to contradict or be contrary to what it is, what the words is that we stand to and believe and know and understand. To be the proper way of analyzing and seeing everything, and to handle certain things. We not allowing that to, though they try to say things as offset that, or they may contradict that, or may you try to make you question that, or for you to try to question that, as an attempt for you to get you to question that. We're not doing it, because it says, "Fear not the imagination against thee, let not the incredulity of them trouble thee that speak against thee. For all the unfaithful See that? Because shall their non-belief make the faith of God of none effect. Romans 3:3. God forbid. Meaning, hell no. This word is gonna stay true. Because you would be dumb, folding, and then afterwards, realizing after the demon get on you, have your ass go off. You give in these mugs, and then it don't even be worth it. Everybody get caught. The demon leave. Now you back to your senses. Nah, man. So you pray to the Lord to keep you. But it says, for all the unfaithful shall die in their unfaithfulness. We're not gonna be so it's because you those that try to keep their life and do otherwise and don't stand on their belief and willing to die for it, they're gonna in order to keep something, in order to seek approval, you know what I'm saying, and they're to where they willing to trim their ways to seek love, they gonna actually die. Because it's things you're going to actually lose and not be able to get back. You know? Think about it. So we ain't in fear of none of this crap, losing nothing. Why? Wisdom of Solomon 17:12. For fear is nothing else but a betraying of the succors which reason offer. Exactly. So you just turned on reasoning. So basically, for fear is nothing else but a betraying of the succors. So you done left your you in a place of leaving rationality and your mind pleading with you to where you don't know and you lost and you confused now. You know what I'm saying? Pleading. You've left the place of pleading. You done left sense, irrationality, which is like pleading with you, hence begging, succoring. You know? You left the comfort that reasoning bring you. So now you scared. You know what I'm saying? So-called scared, but it ain't no such thing as scared. When you know what's what and you got, you know what I'm saying? Like you comforted. You know? So get understanding. So I say, you believe in things you understand, then you'll suffer. So with all that getting, get understanding. And this was another one that I want to get, but I'll come back to that. I'm gonna end this here. It says what? 1 Corinthians 15:58. Therefore, my beloved brethren, be ye steadfast. See that? Unmovable. Always abounding in the work of the Lord. For as much as ye know that your labor is not in vain in the Lord. In the Lord. In the NLT. So my dear brothers and sisters, be strong and immovable and immovable. Always work enthusiastically for the Lord. For you know that nothing you do for the Lord is ever useless. All right. So here now ending back there in 1 Corinthians. John 10:17 says what? Therefore do my father love me, because I laid down my life that I might take it again. Exactly. You know, the Father loves me in the NLT because I sacrifice my life so that I might take it again. No man take it away from me. Take no man back in the cage if he taketh it from me, but I lay it down of myself. I have power to lay it down, and I have power to take it again. This commandment have I received of my Father. So again, if you don't take up your cross and follow after the Lord, you're not, who is somebody that was willing to die for what he believed, you're not worthy of him. 1 Corinthians 15:51. Behold, I show you a mystery. We shall not all sleep, but we shall all be changed. Yeah, exactly. So, and that's due to being willing to die for what you believe in whatever way that you may have to. Shalom. Call on YAHAWASHI.